All right, welcome to social studies class. Let's get started with some review. This big piece of land is a continent. Do you know what the name of this continent is? It's our continent, North America. What about this continent? South America. And do you remember what this continent is? The one where England is on? This one is Europe. And do you remember what country did we learn about last time? It was a very tiny, tiny little country right here. Israel. And do you know what big continent Israel is on? It's the continent of Asia. All right. Does anyone remember what this ocean's name is? This is the Atlantic Ocean. And this is the what? Pacific Ocean. All right, so in our last lesson, we were here in Israel, and today we are going to visit a country on the continent of Africa. This continent right here is Africa, and the country in Africa that we're going to visit is this purple one, and the name of this country is Kenya. Say Kenya 3 times. Kenya, Kenya, Kenya. Kenya, Africa. I actually have a cousin who was adopted from Kenya. He lived in Kenya until he was about, 8 or 9 or 10 years old. I can't quite remember. And then his family adopted him. Well, actually, you know who Mr. Smucker is, right? Do you know who Mr. Smucker is? It's Mr. Smucker's son, Stephen, is from Kenya. Anyway, so the continent of Africa, and we're going to go to Kenya. So in our imaginations, I think we'll fly, but we actually could drive because do you see the land is touching right here? So we could drive if we wanted to. But I think in our imaginations, we will fly today. All right. Let's get started. Oh, I forgot. Let's do one more thing. Let's see if we can see here. So this country of Kenya, is it larger or smaller than the country of Israel that we learned about last time? This is Israel, if you can even see it. Kenya is larger. Is Kenya larger or smaller than the United States? Ooh, it is smaller for sure. All right, so we're gonna pretend to get on an airplane and fly to Kenya, Africa. And when we get to Kenya, Africa, we fly to the capital city. Remember, the capital city is the most important city in a country. The capital of Kenya is Nairobi. Can you say Nairobi 3 times? Nairobi, Nairobi, Nairobi. All right, and in Nairobi, we meet Jomo. Okay, this little boy's name is Jomo, and he loves the country of Kenya. And when we see him, he says, Jambo. What do you think Jambo means? It means hello. Can you say Jambo? Say that. Jambo. There we go. So now you're learning all kinds of different ways to say hello. All right, so Nairobi is a large city. This is a picture of Nairobi. You see it has big skyscrapers, tall buildings, and a lot of the places in Nairobi might look kind of like our cities. They have lots of different places to eat, just like we have. Kind of some of the same places to eat that we have. And but most of the people that live in Kenya, right here. See, these are all different countries in Africa. Africa has lots of different countries, so Kenya is just one of them. But most of the people that live in Kenya don't live in the cities, like the city of Nairobi. They live in the country, out in little villages. The people do a lot of farming, and they raise lots of pineapples. Do you remember a state we learned about in our country that raises pineapples? Do you remember? Hawaii. They grow pineapples too. Now, as we are driving through the countryside, Jomo points out tall, beautiful palm trees, and he's excited about showing us all the different things that grow there. Here's some of the things that grow there: bananas and cashews, pineapples, cotton, and tea. And he's also excited to show us all the different kinds of animals that are roaming around in the country. And we'll talk more about the animals a little bit later, but Africa has really cool animals. As we drive to Jomo's village, we see a bunch of children playing soccer. That's the favorite sport of the children in Kenya. Soccer seems to be a favorite sport in a lot of countries, right? But Jomo says that he also loves to run. Do you guys like to run? He loves to just run, and he hopes that someday he might be fast enough to run in the Olympics. The Olympics are all kinds of different sporting events that happen, and people from all over the world come and they compete. They play against each other. And you have to be really good to play in the Olympics. There's lots of runners from his country, from Kenya, that get medals in the Olympics. So he's hoping that when he grows up, maybe he could get a medal at the Olympics. All right, as we are driving through the countryside, we notice that most of the people that live in the villages live in small homes with thatched roofs and dirt floors. So this is what thatched roof might look like. And there's just, you see, it's just these little huts. And this is how a lot of the people live. And there's not a real floor, it's just a dirt floor. This is what Jomo's home is like too. So we get to his house and his mom welcomes us and says, "Jambo." And she has been grinding corn with some big stones. In Kenya, they eat a lot of corn. And she mixes it with water and she makes something called ugali. That's what they eat a lot. Sometimes they add vegetables or meat or fish to their ugali, but sometimes they just have it plain. After we eat the ugali, then Jomo offers us a special treat. You guys know what cashews are? Yeah, there's a nut. And he roasted them over the fire until they were crunchy. And so we enjoy some cashews with Jomo. All right, next, after we have eaten lunch, we decide to go with Jomo to one of the large parks in Kenya and see the animals that run free there. We're gonna take our cameras with us, but we can't take a gun. Now, people used to go to Africa or to Kenya and they would go on a safari, that's what we call it, and they would go on a safari, which is a trip to see the animals, but they would also take their guns and they would shoot the animals. And after a while, so many animals were shot that too many animals had died, and so now it's against the law to kill these animals. People can still come to Kenya and go on a safari, but now they bring their cameras and they shoot the animals with their cameras, but they don't shoot them with guns. All right, now, as we go, we got on a bus, like maybe a bus kind of like this here, but we have to stay on the bus because these are wild animals. Do you see the lions? As we go, we can pretend that we can look out and see the lions. Now, you know that the male lion, that means like the daddy lions, they're the ones that have the big mane. Okay, but the mama lions don't have that. Just the daddy lions, just the male lions. Now look, do you see the elephants over there? They stay close to the rivers and the lakes. And it's fun to watch them play in the water. They can suck water up in their trunk and spray it. Now I see zebras and tall giraffes. And what was that thump? oh, there was a large monkey that landed on top of our bus and he's taking a ride with us. How fun is that? But I guess we can't see him if he's on the top of our bus. All right. Perhaps while we keep on driving, maybe we'll see a cheetah. You guys know what cheetahs are, right? They're big cats. They're the fastest running land animals. They can run as fast as 60 miles an hour, and maybe you don't know how fast that is, but that's about as fast as usually we drive our cars. Like not when we're in town, but when we're on like the highways or the freeway. So a cheetah could just run right along with the car. Wouldn't that be amazing? Maybe it was watching the cheetahs run that made Jomo want to be a runner when he gets older. I don't know. All right, we're getting hungry. It's time for supper. And we're gonna go to the Treetops Motel. It's a really cool place. It's built up high in a tree. And if you look down from the tree, you can see a pond where wild animals come to drink water. And so while we eat our supper in the restaurant that's up in this hotel, we can watch the animals come to drink at the pond. And they also lick salt from a big salt block that was put out for them. Now, in some parks that you can go to, there's a lodge to watch the animals, so a big building, and some of the lodges have bars around them to make sure that the people stay safe from the animals. So this is kind of funny. Here, we go to a zoo, and who is in the cage? Us or the animals? The animals are in cages at the zoo. But if you go on a safari, the people are in a cage, and the animals get to be free. So that's kind of funny. All right, I hope you enjoyed learning about Kenya and about the safari and the animals that you could see there. I've never been to Africa or Kenya, but I hope someday I might be able to go. I think that would be very exciting to see all of those wild animals. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day.